All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to say, call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rekakwadash. That is to say, all praise to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, through the Holy Spirit, Rekakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect, men, women, and children of Israel, scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, among the heathen, as well as those that even look like the heathen. All right, this is not a black or white thing. I'm the brother Yaradamba from the GMS branch here in Chicago, coming back at you with what I hope to be another short yet edifying lesson. All right, and Lord willing, this will be the first installment of something I plan to make a series. All right, just it's kind of a back to the basic thing, but just going into scriptures that Christians will never fully read. All right, and the first scripture I want to use or go through is this Matthew the 5th chapter in verse 17. All right, because this is one that they will pull to be to support their lawless lifestyle. All right, but they never add the context that's around it. They'll never really fully read the thought. Okay, so without further ado, this is the book of Matthew, the 5th chapter, in verse 17. It says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." And they'll read that and stop right there and say, see, the Lord said that he fulfilled the law, which means I can eat my pork. The Lord said he fulfilled the law. So we don't got to keep the Sabbath and the high holy days. I can celebrate Christmas, right? But not so, man. The Lord never, what's the word I'm looking for? Endorsed a lawless lifestyle. All right, so this is, let's read it again and let's continue to read. This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17. It says, "Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." Right? So heaven and earth haven't passed. There's still prophecies in the Old Testament of the Lord that have to come to pass. Let's grab one real quick and we'll come right back there. All right. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 63, Salakia. Isaiah 63 and 1. "Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Or art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garment, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come." So this is a prophecy about Yahweh Shai that has not come to pass just yet, man. So there you go. And again, we understand that you're not saved by the keeping of the law, but that is the guidelines in which we follow. If you follow the Spirit, the Spirit wouldn't cause you to break the law, man. All right. So verse 18 again, Matthew 5:18, it says, "For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." So, hey, people always say, "Well, you think God worried about me eating some pork?" They look at that as one of the least commandments. All right. But what did it say? "Whoever shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so." If you're teaching people that they can eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster, you shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because those wicked scribes and Pharisees, they were hypocrites, man. They would say one thing and do the other. All right. And we are not to be that way. All right. And that's just simple. So now with that, because we understand that the Bible has to go together, it can't contradict itself. So with that being said, If the law was done away with after the Lord's sacrifice, we wouldn't have accounts of the apostles keeping the laws, man, or teaching people to keep the laws, right? So where do I want to go to from there? Let's look this one up. This the book of Acts, chapter 18, and verse I start at 18. It says, and Paul, after this, tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren and sailed thence into Syria, and with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Caesarea, for he had a vow. And he came to Ephesus and left them there, but he himself entered into the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they desired him to tarry longer time with them, he consented not, but bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that cometh in Jerusalem, but I will return again unto you if God will. And he sailed from Ephesus, and when he had landed at Caesarea and going up and saluted the church, he went down to Antioch. And this feast, if I'm not mistaken, it was going into the Passover, because there's 3 times in a year. Let's see if they give it to us. It's 3 times in a year. Passover. But it's 3 times in a year that you have to go to Jerusalem to keep the feast. Let me see. Hey, I can't spell 3, huh? Yep. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, and verse 14. It says, 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month of Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in a year, all thy males shall appear before the Lord Yahweh. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with unleavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Lord Yahweh thy power. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. All right, so there you go. But the point being that what? There were 3 times in the year that all the males had to present themselves before the Lord. And this was one of those times, which is why Paul was saying what? I by all means must keep this feast and that cometh in Jerusalem, because you had to go to Jerusalem every year for that feast. All right, so this is one example of the apostle keeping the laws. Okay? Why would he do that if wouldn't he say, well, the Lord said he fulfilled it all, so we ain't got to do that no more? Nah, they still did it. Let's get another account of them teaching it now. All right, I'm on Acts the 15th chapter, because this is after a dissension about the circumcision. All right, so I just want to go ahead and get to the apostles' judgment. This is Apostle James now. Acts 15 and verse we'll just read the whole chunk. Acts 15:13. It says, and after they held their peace, James answered, saying, men and brethren, hearken unto me. Simon hath declared how God at the first did visit the Gentiles to take out of them a people for his name. And to this agree the words of the prophets, as it is written, after this I will return and will build again the tabernacle of David, which is fallen down, and I will build again the ruins thereof, and I will set it up. That the residue of men might seek after the Lord, and all the Gentiles upon whom my name is called, saith the Lord, who doth all these things. And just a quick side note, this is how you know that these Gentiles here are talking about Israelites, because it said he's going to rebuild the tabernacle of David, which is fallen, and he will rebuild the ruins thereof, right? And it says in the book of Amos, it talks about how he would do it just like it was in the ancient world, man. Well, under the tabernacle of David, the Israelites were ruling and all the heathen were in subjection. So we understand what that's talking about. Those Gentiles here are speaking of the Israelite foreigners. All right. It says, verse 18, Known unto the Most High are all his works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to the Most High, but that we write unto them that they abstain from pollution of idols, a law, and from fornication, a law, and from things strangled, a law, and from blood. So those last two are dietary laws. So the disciples or the apostles after the Lord's death, what told them to keep the laws, man. Going back to that Matthew the 5th chapter, if any man do and teach others to do so, they will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So no, that's just a little quick hit, man. It's Matthew the 5th chapter, verse 17. Think not I am come to destroy the law of the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. That's not a license to live lawlessly, man. When you go into the context of it, it tells you the exact opposite. All right, the exact opposite. So Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. With that, I want to say, Call Halal Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who taught us this truth. Shalom to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful righteous elect, men, women, and children of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth, man. Shalom, Kwame Sharala, Wa Abba Babal.